Hi everyone, I wanted to talk a little bit today about CMC, Foundation for Change. I've talked about them a lot this past year. I've got different videos and blog posts talking about them, and they are an organization that's dedicated to helping people who are struggling with substance abuse. And they actually focus on families and how family involvement can help with the process to change. And they created these amazing learning groups with a supportive environment. So a little bit different than just your standard support group. In this kind of supportive environment, you actually learn skills on how to help your loved one and yourself get through this really difficult time in your life. And they actually have this great illustration here that talks about the pillars of the invitation to change groups. You've got understanding right here, understanding that behaviors make sense, that there's not a one size fits all approach to substance abuse and getting help, and that ambivalence is normal. And then over here, we've got skills for learning about self-awareness, self-compassion, and willingness, as in a willingness to be able to engage in emotional pain while staying connected with your loved one who's struggling. And then at the bottom here, we've got the action pillar, which teaches communication and behavior skills to promote new behaviors in the person struggling. And then in the middle, you've got this nice illustration of a piano, which really showcases the importance of practice and how practicing all these new skills is really important. And a lot of them are going to feel potentially awkward at first, but if you practice, then it can really, these skills will become second nature to you. It's like learning any new skill. You know, there's a great example where we got to practice writing something with pen in our dominant hand, and then we had to write the same thing with our non-dominant hand. And of course, you know, when you're using your non-dominant hand, it feels really awkward at first and it looks messy. And that's okay. And that's a really good illustration for this whole process for you and your loved one. You know, it's messy, but if you keep trying, you'll get better at it. And so I just recently took their 17-hour training class over the last couple of weekends, which was incredible. And it was to learn the foundations of the invitation to change approach. And then very soon I'll be taking their next training, which is going to be a level 1 certification training for the invitation to change, so that I can eventually become a facilitator and lead these groups. And I've attended some of these meetings myself, some of these groups, and they're incredibly powerful. And it's just like I've been watching family members, in real time see the benefits of applying these new skills in their life and how it's helped their loved ones. And, like I said, it can get messy. And I know that, we just want the problem to go away. We want it to be fixed. And unfortunately, substance abuse and addictive, and then the addictive nature of substances, it's not so easy, right? If it was easy, we wouldn't have a lot, 50 million people post-pandemic. Before the pandemic, it was more like 25 million, but it's almost 50 million people now, addicted to substances. And that means that there's well over 100 million loved ones who are affected by it. And it affects relationships, financials, and just everything in the dynamics of the home, of course. And it's just really neat how I'm just bringing everything together now. Everything I've been doing with myself personally, professionally, bringing in the gray area drinking training, which is really nervous system regulation training, and how the importance of healing our nervous system, which can heal cravings, and help us become more, how to, learn how to bridge the gap between when stimulus comes in and you get dysregulated, and being intentional about response instead of being reactionary. And this really all goes hand in hand, because if you have regulation, then you can, especially in a very difficult situation where there is substance in the home and that struggle and the conflict, but regulation can go a long way to really, with all these skills, and like opening up those lines of communication and approaching your loved one in a non-judgmental way, and how to get away from maybe yelling and things like that, and having a more calm conversation, because when we're calm, our loved one can be calm, and that can open up the doors for conversation, instead of breaking it apart and creating more conflict, because conflict and dysregulation is not going to help change. That is, there's science that backs that up. And speaking of science, the whole premise of what CMC does with these invitation to change groups, it's bringing in science and kindness, and and right, like I said, like there's compassion on here, and then science with evidence-based strategies. And in fact, they actually a lot of the evidence-based strategies were pulled from 3 different other clinical methods. So there's and this would include motivational interviewing skills, and then skills from CRAFT, which stands for Community Reinforcement and Family Training, and ACT, which is Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. So bringing all that together has really been shown to help, like I said, both families and those addicted to a substance. And also it helps to reduce just stigma around all of this, and bringing, kind of shedding new light and new perspective around substance abuse and learning more about it. So yeah, if you have a loved one struggling, go ahead and go on the CMC website. You can learn more about Invitation to Change. You can see, there's things to read. There's books. There's different workbooks. This is actually the Beyond Addiction workbook right here. This is newer. There's an actual book called Beyond Addiction that came out in 2014, and this is a follow-up book, and it has, it's more set up more like a workbook. You can see there's all the concepts in there, and then there's spaces to learn and practice skills. And I actually got this book in person recently, because the CMC group had a in-person fundraiser, and they invited me, which was really exciting. It was really cool to meet everyone in person, and put some faces to some virtual, emails and phone calls and things like that. And so go ahead and check out their website. Like I said, there's videos to watch, there's things to read, there's books, there's blog articles, and then you can learn about the training if that's something you're interested in. And then also there's a way to find groups that are led by current ITC facilitators, and you could potentially join one in person, or there's lots held virtually as well. And so that would make it very accessible if you just want to attend an ITC meeting and get a little glimpse of how it works and see if it resonates with you. Those are all different options. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or CMC directly, and I'll link them below. Thanks, and have a great day.